There you go.
Live.
All right, we are live, and the New York Mets are back. We are so back.
Let's go,
back.
Mets.
All right, let's hug it out. All right,
Come
boys, come on. Big group hug.
No. We're not hugging. We're thrusting.
Oh, we're doing we're throwing the Pete Dongs out.
Oh!
Let's go, Mets.
I love the thrust.
We're back.
I love the thrust. I love, whether you want to call them the kids or the baby Mets, the babies. I love babies and thrusting. Babies and thrusting. Let's go. Man, to say we are back is an understatement because it's not just winning. It's not just a 5-game winning streak. It's not just being above 500 that's back. It's the excitement, the comebacks, the ridiculousness, the clutch home runs, the insanity, the walk-offs. Like, that was, we said it just last episode or 2 episodes ago, how by this point this season, we had like 4 or 5 of those moments. And right now at that point, we had 0. Well, we've got 4 or 5 of them. They just all happen to come in a row.
Happened in a weekend. I think you were at Taylor Swift one night. I had recitals and shit. I think you were Kyle had something else going on.
I was at the game on Friday.
Yeah, you were at the game. So it's like we
yeah.
couldn't even do the emergency. And it's, to be honest with you, it doesn't even feel real. Oh, I had food poisoning that night too.
I was gonna say you were pretty quiet. Even I don't know where you were.
I tweeted out like Cookie is back.
Yeah.
He gave up 4 runs in the first, and he's giving up home runs. I'm like, good to see you back, Cookie. And then had the kids out of the carnival. It was a carnival cheesesteak. Bad idea. That'll do it. It's so good. So good going down. It was like, it wasn't even coming back up was the issue. It was just, I honestly felt like I was in a fever dream. You know, like your body is just like, fighting stuff. I was in and out of consciousness. I felt like shit. And
felt like the Mets the first fucking 6 weeks of the season.
Exactly. I basically became the Mets. And then I'm like, wait, did Pete Alonso hit a grand slam at some point to tie this game up? I'm like in and out. I remember Clase coming in the game with the lead. And I'm just like, all right, like, let's fucking go. And then I woke up at like 5 a.m. And I was like, what the fuck just happened?
That game, I was like 10 seconds behind on my live stream. You know, you never know. You're going to be on time, ahead, behind. And Pavs texted me, like, it would really be great. Like, like the boys really need a walk-off from Pete right now. Something like that. I mean, I'm talking, as the ball hit the bat, my phone received it. And then he sent me an eye emoji. And I was like, wait a minute, does that mean that he did it? And then my mom texted me, holy shit. But Lindor had just had such a bad at-bat right before that that we were talking about that. And I was like, dude, that was a really bad at-bat. Well, that was, so I wrote back to her, like, holy shit is right. That was trash. And she was like, what are you talking about? And then like a second later, boom. So because I didn't know, you know, like, so I got the 10-second delay on a walk-off fucking grand slam or whatever, you know. That was a all-time. But yeah, I say all-time, but it happened like every fucking game this week.
Yeah,
what do you think was the biggest? What do you think was the biggest win this week?
So, Phil, you were there.
I was there Friday
So, what was it like? Because, I mean, the react, like, I saw some videos of the crowd, and they were going bananas.
That was a 3-run homer, not a grand slam, right?
It was the grand slam.
That was a grand slam?
Grand slam to tie it up, and then Alvarez tied it up again.
The winning. I love it. I'm so mixed up on our game tying and game winning home runs.
It's like breaking down the Phillies last year. We're like, wait, which one was that? Was that the no hitter, or was that the one where we had the 8 runs in the 9th inning?
I'm gonna do a full recap. So Cookie put us down 5-0 hole pretty much immediately.
Yes.
Alvarez gets us going, solo homer. McNeil single, 5-2. Brett Beatty oppo, 5-3.
Yep.
Then some stupid shit happens where it's 7-3. Not gonna explain how. And it goes walk. No, I think it goes Nimmo hit, Lindor walked, McNeil walked, whatever it was. Those 3 on for Pete. Boom, 7-7. 9-7, top 9. Some NPC on the Guardians goes 2-run homer. Mark Vientos single, 9-8. Alvarez single, 9-9. Nimmo single, Lindor single.
Bingo, bango, bongo.
Yep.
I love that New York. I love that Lindor got in the mix there. I loved Lindor's postgame. Saying I'm always grateful when I'm in the opportunity to like deliver in the big spots. I know I haven't done that much recently, but like thank you guys for sticking by me. Like a little acknowledgement that he hasn't been terrible, but he's had his moments. But like he's still right there, like being very gracious to the crowd. Also, fuck you, Jason Kipnis. Suck my fucking dick. That guy backtracked so fast, by the way. He was turtling faster than I've ever heard anybody. Like, if you're going to say some shit, at least stand by it. Him and Lindor and his wife put him in a body bag real quick. But, I mean...
I thought that's against, like, the code of the middle infielders, too. I feel like middle infielders, you got to stick together.
Also, he was, like,
he was
24.
A kid.
Yeah. He shouldn't have been the fucking leader in that clubhouse. He's a leader in this clubhouse.
He led us to multiple wins this weekend.
You know what? It's easy to be a leader in the clubhouse when your team's awesome. It's when when you show your mettle is when you're like, all right, we're under 500. We're really under delivering this season, and then all of a sudden you can put something together like that. But Pete's gonna hit 50 this year. He's leading the league in home runs.
MVP.
Lindor is he might be streaky, but when he's hot, he's hot. We know we're getting there. You hope that Marte kind of puts it together. You hope that McNeil continues to come back. All that, yes, blah, blah, blah. Nimmo is just fucking a solid player. Facts. The difference is the babies. I mean, the having just 3 new actual players in your lineup changes everything. If Buck fucking plays them, by the way.
It feels great to watch a catcher not thinking, damn, maybe I don't want him sack bunting here.
I know. Yeah. And I'll tell you, out of all of them, Vientos has come in just like right away. And Beatty, we've seen the most of, and he's really like probably, your everyday player that we've got out of this right now. But the difference in Alvarez is so tremendous because we've been saying that he just looks a little nervous, a little bit overpowered, overmatched, and then he goes down and he fucking rakes. So he's somewhere in between that quadruple A level, and now he's just like, I want him up there. He's gone from, he was up to bat with runners on base more than anybody ever to start his career, and he struck out every goddamn time. And now it's the opposite. He's either starting rallies or finishing them and keeping them moving. He, to me, has been the biggest and most pleasant surprise of, like, not a surprise because it was all right there, but just a relief. Like, thank God Alvarez can actually play Major League Ball and, like, at a high level. That, to me, changes. I wouldn't even get – I still think the pitching is so problematic and we still have such a long way to go. But if it was just, like, one player or we had a couple guys really play out of their minds for 1 week, but bringing 3 new guys in is something that can change your whole fucking season. Because that's not just a Band-Aid. That's like, we now have a whole new look and a whole new swagger about us. And everybody gets bumped down a spot. Everyone can relax. Everyone shares the burden. And next thing you know, like, that's an offense that's just cooking all year long.
I think we've all experienced enough baseball seasons to know there are different kind of just feels to a year. Last year was the veteran year. The veterans just carry it, do their thing. Then there's the year where all the babies come up and they do it, and they're just building something out of nothing. I'd say like 2005 was kind of that, right?
Reyes and Wright were like, I thought to myself, because we have the babies, baby Mats, whatever you want to call them, and I was like, God damn it, this is going to be like Generation K. This is going to be like the 5 Aces. Whenever you start naming people, they let you down. I guess maybe because it was just only 2 of them with Wright and Reyes. If they had a third, I think there would have been a name for that era.
Yeah.
Because it was just Wright and Reyes, the left side of the infield, whatever. If they had one more guy, I think that middle 2000s would have had some dumb catchphrase, and boy, would that have disappointed as well.
Yep. If Ike Davis was a little younger and a little better, that definitely would have been a thing, 100%.
Yep.
But it's all working out so far, knock on wood. And, this is the one where you have the young kids, and then you have the veterans that you can rely on, that's when the fucking magic. And listen, I promised I would not counsel shame, but this is why you do not counsel in May under Steve Cohen. Under the Wilpons, that is fine.
Whatever.
But I'm telling you right now, the infrastructure's there, and it's getting these guys ready to play.
It's just so early that, like, somehow by the grace of God, we still had 20 wins under our belt when things were shitty. We were, I think, 20-23 was probably like our low water mark. And then you rattle off 5 wins, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay. Now we're a couple games above 500. By the way, the NL sucks.
It sucks.
The Braves obviously are always going to be a problem, but they're not lights out anymore. The Phillies have sucked. I think the Diamondbacks are like one of the best teams in the NL right now. I don't know if they're going to last. And if they do, they're not like some wagon opponent. The Dodgers are the Dodgers. But, like, you're right there now. And God, if this win streak continues, if you can rattle off a handful of wins or win a few series in a row like we got used to last year, things could change so fucking fast. That bailing that early is just silly.
5 games behind the Braves, and I only saw that just because I was looking up standings for something else. I'm not doing scoreboard watching. I'm not doing standings watching, but it's like, oh, after all that, we're 5 games behind the Braves. The Phillies are 9, like Philadelphia. I don't even know like how I could even get into Philadelphia Phillies Twitter. If they were like us, they have to be going crazy right now, right?
I mean, they must be.
There's a stat
absolutely.
on
I know Phil's actually probably like lurking and
He's
trolling.
probably got a burner that's in there.
There's a stat on Trey Turner. It's pretty interesting.
Oh, I love this one.
He has more home runs and RBIs in the WBC than he does on the Phillies.
Amazing. Take your WBC second place trophy and all your fucking accolades. Turn them sideways, shine them up real nice, shove them up your fucking ass. The WBC was the worst thing to ever happen to baseball, and I'm happy that Captain America Trey Turner is now feeling the heat of it. Meanwhile, you look at what Pete did and what he's doing now. I mean, bro, he is a monster. He hits bombs all the fucking time. And I don't know, the juice ball year, I think we talked about this before when a couple episodes ago when I was like, how was he not an MVP candidate that year? And it was because everybody was. But now that it's like, you know, only the Aaron Judge era really of like straight up mashers.
Yeah.
I mean, if Pete's going to like flirt with 50 bombs again with the game the way it is now, I don't think I'm even prepared for that. Like you get a home run like every other game. The way he plays.
And Steve Cohen's bank account is like, they start reserving which dollars are going to Pete, right? And the thing about Steve is like, good, I'll pay him. I want to pay him.
The best thing that can happen to Steve is that Pete proves he's worth $250 million. Yeah. I mean, he just hits bombs. And I know, in the beginning of the year, a lot of them were coming in losing efforts or in blowouts. But A, you can't control that. And B, the season is so long that eventually they start to come in the 9th inning, in the 10th inning, when you're down, when you need a run. And it all, water finds its level on that kind of shit.
Isn't it funny how the home runs mean more and the wins start coming in when the starting pitching is getting through the fucking 4th,
What's the
stat? 5th, and 6th?
I think they're 11-0 when they get 6 innings.
11-0 when they get 6 innings from the starter is this year's when the Mets score 4 runs. It was in that from like 2015 through like 2020, the era where we had all those pitchers. If the Mets offense scored 4 runs, they would have won at like 130 win clip. And that's not, you're not asking, if I were to tell you that stat about scoring 6 runs, it's like, of course, but 6 runs is a lot to ask. When you're asking a team to score 4, it's very, very possible, and they should, and you're that good, that is a telling stat. Asking starters to go 6, if you told me they were 11-0 and starters go 8, no fucking kidding. Asking these guys to just go 6 and the offense can do and the bullpen can do the rest. Come on, boys.
Not 6 shutout. Not just quality
6.
start even.
Just 6.
Just get us to the 7th inning.
Yeah, you just really that it's all one team and they all one hand washes the other, but you really understand how much bad starting pitching leads to bad relief pitching real quick. Mm-hmm. So even if you don't give us quality starts, at least the bullpen are names that we know and pitchers that are effective. But when you're going 3 2/3 every day, all of a sudden it's a bunch of NPCs in the bullpen, and then to see Verlander go, 8 innings is it's legitimately double what we get on average. Yeah, we got 2 starts in 1 because of that guy.
He could have gone 9. He was
absolutely could
pitches.
have. Absolutely could have. He was unbelievable. I was saying, I almost feel like I need to continue to schedule things. This, for the exact duration of this winning streak, I've had to either travel, work, did shit with the kids, been in situations where I just couldn't watch. I have not really gotten to enjoy a Verlander start. Most of these comeback home runs have been on the phone or in the car. It has been a grind for me to enjoy this, but this is like, I hope you all soaked it in because I hope it continues. But if you spent the last 5 games fucking Frank the Tank in it, this is just lucky, or like, oh, no, they're not going to get it done this time. Oh, they gave up the lead again. The Magic's going to run out. Well, you missed the best fucking week of the season. It's going to be hard to top this.
And I'm almost like I was gonna say this like sarcastically, but there will be someone if they like lose to the Cubs on Tuesday night, be like they could only beat American League teams.
Yeah,
they beat
absolutely.
the Rays, who are the fucking best team in baseball, and then I mean the Guardians are struggling too, but the Guardians were basically us rolling into that series.
Also,
right?
I mean, yes, they stink. Yes, our pitching is bad to give up those home runs, but let's just forget about how you were coming in to the series and who you were outside of these games. The Guardians were hitting bombs and scoring runs, and they, in that moment, the Guardians were playing very good ball. Whether it's because our pitching sucks or because they just had a little bit of magic for the first time this season, bottom line is they were scoring runs. They were scoring runs late. They were hitting home runs, and we were able to beat them. Like, I don't care. I don't care who the opponent is, what their record is. The wins are the fucking wins.
I am not going to give away. I'm not going to cry about wins that we should have gotten because it was against a bad team. Because I've seen the bad teams beat us, and that's what made those series losses feel like you lost, instead of losing 6 games, it felt like you lost 12 games because you're losing to bad teams.
Right.
So it's like
it's a double. Yeah, you miss the opportunities to beat the bad teams while you also lose games.
And granted, when you take 2 or 3 against the Rays, it feels like you took 4 or 5.
Yep.
Because it's like they are that team is so stupid. We don't have to play. Do we have to play them again?
Okay. Not until the World Series.
Not until the World Series. That's my guy, Phil. I
mean,
like that.
Everybody's batting over 300. Everybody's getting hits. They're scoring 7 runs a night.
So I get to really enjoy the Rays where I'm beat up on that team. It's like you have a bully. Just go beat up on the Yankees right now. Go beat up on the Braves. Go beat up on someone else.
Doyle rules type shit. Yeah, just sick them on there. Yeah, I mean, it's funny. We looked at that stretch that was Cincinnati and Washington
Colorado.
And we were like, here we go. And that we stumbled out of the gate.
You called it.
Well, I mean, I call. I always know that it's not going to go well, but most people were getting excited, and then to start to bounce back and start things with the Rays being that's baseball, Susan.
Yep.
Now we need to keep it rolling because we know June becomes absolutely disastrous. But I will say, pitching aside, I'm back to we can hang with anybody.
Yes.
That lineup can now hang with anybody again. We're back to the point where you can go batter for batter. We can roll with anybody. The pitching still remains to be a big problem, but goddamn the infusion of Alvarez, Beatty, and Vientos it worked. It worked temporarily. I have said many times before on the show, how come our guys don't just step up and do it, and they're doing it.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like I want to give credit to Vientos. I know Beatty was already doing his thing and already had been up, but Vientos came in and did it immediately.
First game.
And I don't know whether that is pressure on Alvarez or just the opposite. Maybe it loosens him up, but all of a sudden he starts contributing too. And it goes from 1 to 2 to 3 guys are now performing and playing. And listen, I know that there are all sorts of stats and splits and the season's long and all that shit. I'm going to pull my goddamn hair out with the way Buck is not playing these guys. I mean, Alvarez being a catcher is going to need days off. I understand that. Not playing Vientos and not playing Beatty in the middle of their hot streaks and their walk-offs and their game-tying hits and home runs is asinine.
It's quite a pickle that I find Mets fans in right now, too. Because I think a lot, and granted, there was DeSoto's out there, but we had all these guys traded last year. True, I mean,
totally.
Just get rid of Vientos, get rid of Beatty.
Totally.
We need to go for it now. The window's closing, yada yada yada. And hey, if you do that for Soto, you do it for Soto. He's younger than all these guys, right? But other than that, it's
crazy
you get these rental bats.
He is right. I mean, he's it's crazy how young he is.
Stupid, and they're. Padres fans are wearing bags on their heads right now. If you want to look how the other fan bases are doing,
they're 2 games out of last place, pretty much.
Yeah, they're 5 games below 500.
That's baseball.
Same run differential as the Royals right now.
Bro, I said this. I made this video once and I deleted it. I said it about the Phoenix Suns. There are certain franchises that just will never win a title, and the Suns are on that list of the Phoenix Suns, whether it's the Phoenix part or the Suns part, you're just never going to be there in the end. And I said about the Kings, I think the Kings won the very first championship when the NBA was formed. Other than that, like the Sacramento Kings are never getting back to the title in the NBA. And in the world of baseball, there are certain teams, like I think the Padres, are just like, you're never going to win. And the sports gods are just working against you. And because if they can't do it with this and this money and this lineup, now people always say like, who are you to talk shit? And it's like, yeah, my teams haven't, but they don't have a team and live in a city that basically precludes them from winning. You know what I mean? There are just certain places it's like not going to work, man. Never going to happen. So if it's not happening now, that would be great. We need Soto to want to move on. And
it'd be great if they just, fall apart and then trading at the deadline.
Like, you got to be sellers. They want out. We want out. You never know. Would you still make the move?
For Soto? I don't even know what he's doing.
Let's say,
like, this is the thing now.
Soto or Ohtani, let's say you can have him.
It goes back to Ohtani's going to be a free agent, so it almost feels silly. Where Soto, you're still thinking.
What if you? I'm giving you a sign and trade. Like, you can get him and you lock him up.
So I have to give away all the babies.
But you get Soto. You get him for like a 10-year deal.
Phil, you tell me if I should do this to someone that I don't even know what Soto's doing right now. If he's bouncing back.
Well, Soto's OPS up like 880, so he's still like pretty good. Like he's only going to get better.
Well, and what about Ohtani?
Ohtani's.
No. I mean, would you do it for Ohtani?
I don't know.
You would still rather the.
It's nothing, and I know the whole reason for the hypothetical, but there's this guy that keeps blocking me, and his name is Steve Cohen, and he's going to put down the money necessary, so I don't have to do it.
You're
know,
You're right.
It's like
I just wonder like
that.
if Ohtani somehow was available, and it's like all these West Coast teams are going to be in the mix, but what if it was like you got him and you have this exclusive chance to offer him like $700 million now and just take him away, I mean, anyway, that's all hypothetical. Doesn't matter now. The baby Mets
feels
are
like Melo all over again.
I was going to say it feels like a Melo thing.
The only thing I'll say is just like Melo was a nice
We're not comparing the talents here. We're saying,
we're talking about two all-time. I think when it's all said and done, the two people from this generation is going to be Ohtani and Soto.
We're never going to see a player like Ohtani again. No one's going to be allowed to pitch and hit.
But even and Soto, there's very few guys who come up when they're like 20 or 19 or whatever he was and just mash right away. It was like the Pujols of the world and that are just awesome. So those are two guys that if you could somehow pull these off, I think I still would, but man, it's nice to have three, at least threats right now. Like, I don't, where Vientos is going to end up, right? Yeah. But right now, it's not an automatic out. It's not
a major league bats. That's all we were looking for.
It's not a guy who's with dry eyes. It's not a guy who is an automatic out. It's not a guy who's old and breaking down. They're just young, competitive, athletic, fucking guys.
And you got again. I know it's such like a knucklehead fan thing to say. You can't tell me that like these guys coming into the clubhouse doesn't give a little boost of energy, right?
Again, it's always real life. It's like, take Barstool, for example. When the guys move from Chicago and we just have like this new, fresh, clean slate here in New York, and people are going to physically move into different offices and studios, and there's going to be a different air about the place. It's going to be different. Yep. And you hope it's good. Sometimes that could be bad. Sometimes that could be good. But it's going to be different. So don't tell me that it didn't do anything,
Yeah.
Also, even little things like, who knows about like when it comes to like busting balls, right? What if Pete and Lindor still have like this thing, and every now and then it's like they're talking shit to each other, and it gets a little too real.
McNeil, Lindor?
Yeah. What did I say?
Yeah, Pete.
Yeah. McNeil, Lindor. Like,
did he ever buy him that fucking car yet? By the way,
see, that's what I mean. What if like you're in the locker room prior to all this? Pete's McNeil's like, where's that car? And Lindor's like, yeah, I'll get that to you. And let's just say there's some friction and it's a little awkward.
Keep hitting singles, Jeff.
Yeah. Now all of a sudden, there's three new guys. They're all rookies, and they're all kind of like they got the target on their back. They're making fun of those guys instead, and in a good way. And it just changes things. It just becomes a whole different team when you've got three guys who are like 20 years old in the mix, and it's all like that. I almost think there's got to be times where someone like Lindor is like, I know I got the money, and like I'm in the middle of I'm in my prime, but like fuck baseball, like this sport, these fans, this city, ugh. But then you see Alvarez hit a home run in a big spot, and you're like, this is why I love baseball. You see Vientos hit a home run in his first game, and all the veterans are like, this is what it's about, you know. And maybe that's like idealistic, and who knows? I'm making this is fan fiction right now, but some of that stuff has to be happening.
And then you win, which is the most important thing.
Totally.
And then you win because of it, and then it really just is like it's self-fulfilling prophecy, and it fuels the engine. Did you see that video of It's Beatty on Escobar's back, and they're singing Backstreet Boys, I Want It That Way. Like, that's supposed to be two guys that are going to have friction with each other, right? That are like, competing for a job. And it's like, nope, they're cool with each other.
I'm telling you.
You need that shit sometimes.
Unsung hero is Escobar.
Oh, yeah.
Because of just the way he's like handling this and letting Beatty like thrive and shine and still every now and then producing and contributing. Like, that goes a long way.
There's a reason why he's one of the most liked players in the league.
Right.
And there's a reason why they signed him and said, listen, it's a 2-year deal. We're probably going to have Beatty up at some point, but it'll probably take the demotion like a veteran would.
Started the process a little bit earlier than you would have liked, or we all would have liked. But, again, if it was a real life situation, let's say I'm boys with Escobar, and Beatty comes up and steals his job and is playing better than him and all that, and I'm like an Escobar guy, and if Escobar was an asshole about that, you almost feel like you can't be happy for Beatty because you got to rep for the veteran and you got to be like, let's I'm on his team, but he's like, no, I'm good, guys. Like, we're good. I'm smiling for him, happy for him.
You probably called for him to get the call up.
That's what I mean, and like you would hope that there's a lot of people out there who would not be that professional. A lot of people out there who would be mad about that, would cause a stink. That puts a pressure on the manager. There's a rift in the clubhouse. Which side are you on? And instead, we're all a team. Everybody's happy.
Did you guys see that thing Big Ben said the other? It's a little bit different situation, but he said like last year he was kind of rooting against Kenny Pickett at first.
Sure.
Because if he comes out and everyone forgets about Big Ben, and he's like, I've learned to respect you over time. He said on his podcast to his fucking face, which I actually kind of respect. But it's like that's natural. Like if someone just came into Barstool and is like, hey Kevin, he comes in and he just fucking does his thing and he rock it up.
It's like it's good for the team.
Yeah.
It's like when. Landon Donovan got left off the soccer team, and I was like, he was like, I'm all about the team. Like, no, you're not. You're sitting at home rooting for them to lose because you don't want to be that guy.
Algeria right now.
The World Cup. Totally. I think that they've handled, to be honest, you don't know how it would have shaken out, but the way they've handled the call-ups has worked. We probably should have done it earlier, but if you went too early, wouldn't have been good. If you brought them all up at the same exact time or multiples at the same time, maybe that would have been weird. They kind of ended up doing it because, in some ways, because of desperation, in other ways because of necessity. But it's worked
because they were like, this guy is hitting 8 million right now in Syracuse. Like you have to.
We don't have any option here.
Before Mark Good and Mark Vientos broke the minor league home run record, like 440 something. That was the reason.
Man, Mark Gooden is just collecting fucking
bodies
every single day. Man,
he's scalping them out there, dude, for sure. Everybody's falling for Mark Gooden shit.
And this is the other thing about it. So obviously the babies, obviously the starting pitching.
Can we decide, by the way? Is it the babies? I think that's what Lindor said. They call them the baby Mets.
That? I have a shirt that was calling them
the
kids of Queens.
The kids of Queens. I like the kids.
That better
I like the kids better. The babies is a little too infantilizing. You know what I mean? Like
the Yankees just did with the baby bombers too.
So yeah,
I don't like when people say core. I'm like, that's core 4.
Yeah,
they kind of
the kids.
That word. I hate to say.
I think it's the kids.
Yeah, the kids.
The kids are up and they're playing and they're fucking young and excited and like they're the kids. They're not babies. They're still. They're grown men, but the kids.
The motherfuckers, right?
Yeah, come on.
They can wipe their own ass, basically. The cool Frankenstein from Big Daddy.
My own ass. All right, so the kids. Let's go.
So the kids, big part, starting pitching. And this is another thing I realized this weekend that I had forgotten about. Hitting home runs is so much fucking fun. Hitting home runs, I'm going to say it, bold take, is more fun than not hitting home runs.
Remind me of this next time. I am making my argument that, sustained rallies and base hits and small ball are more entertaining. Now, last year the Mets did it in such a way where it really was almost more fun. But if you're not going to get the magic that you had for 162 games in 2022, then hit home runs. Because you know what? Those games, at least like 3 of those times, we handed a lead right back. And if you can't string together that many hits in a game. So if you we tied the game, but you hand it right back and you got to score 2 more runs, you're probably not going to get 4 more hits and a walk. You probably need to do it quick. Yep. You know what I mean? And they're just such a game changer. I think I said this on KFC radio. I don't think I said it here. But I was trying to really think about, I think I was debating in my own head for no reason, as I do, what's the most exciting thing in sports, and what's the reason why a low-scoring game, like a low-scoring sport, can be more exciting than a high-scoring sport, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, when you're watching a basketball game, the old adage of all you got to do is watch the last 2 minutes.
Yep.
It's annoying, but it's true, because in the first, second, and third quarter, every single basket is just like a single basket. So nothing that happens during those possessions can be that important.
Yep, can win the game.
In baseball, you're going to score on average, let's say 5 runs, right? If you're a good team, 4, in that range, right? Mm-hmm. So hitting a home run, 1 run out of your average of 4 or 5 is 25% of your output of that game. It would be the equivalent of and that can happen in the very first pitch of the game. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It would be the equivalent of a basketball team having a 30-point shot. If in the first, because right off the tip, you're whatever, we score a basket, it's only 2 points. If someone could chuck one from half court and you automatically have 25 points,
some rock and jock rules.
It would, it would be like hitting a home run early or hitting a 2 or 3 run home run. Changes the game exponentially.
And if you have a defender that can just lock out the other team from scoring, then you can with the pitcher,
done.
Boom.
So, I know it's a low-scoring game, and it's slow-paced, and there's a million reasons why kids don't enjoy it, and this generation has problems with it. But if you think about it like that, any given pitch, one guy with one swing can do up to 20% of your damage. And if there's runners on base, 50%, 70%. That's what a grand slam is fucking insane. It would be like scoring 100 points with a single ball.
There's only been 3 game-tying grand slams in Mets history.
Wow.
And someone tweeted out
honestly, doesn't surprise me. Any offensive stats?
Yeah.
When we
Pete is already the all-time leader in home runs, RBIs.
Up to that season, before when Beltran was our leader with 41 home runs, and him and Hundley the only 40-run home run guys. There are some gloomy, grim stats on Mets offensive history, but yeah, the grand slam,
the stuff you just said is the reason why, for I don't know, 1,260 days, us Americans soccer is so boring, nothing happppens. And then when we're in the World Cup, we're every fucking minute matters.
Right, because every possession matters. Every time
you're
on that half of the field, you're excited. That's why, every single pitch could be, see you later. That's why when a guy like Pete is hitting at the rate he's hitting at, it's you're getting the excitement once every other game with him. That the first home run, that's towering one. That was a 3-run home run?
Versus the Rays?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a 3-run bomb, right?
That was
the one that I think that was the walk-off, right? Yeah, that was the one where my mom and Pavs had predicted it before me.
It was the Cardinals one.
That was insane.
Yeah, that was the Cardinals one.
It was a fucking movie. It was so high and so gone. The Marte one and the P one that was opposite field is always the Gary Cohen back at the track. You don't know. But the goners, the ones that were just bombs and you knew it off the bat, come everywhere. It was great. The one game that had Gary in the booth like this, Lindor, Pete thrusting. It was everybody was primal that game. It was insane.
There was a lot. Yeah, there was some horniness. We're horny for baseball right now. That's just
I'm horny on Maine, bro. I am horny in Flushing. It's thank God.
I'm gonna pop the can open right now. Pete has been bringing the Blue Mountains back into our souls right here. Our Coors Lights. Everything is just so much better. We can just chill out, hit bombs, get some starting pitching, and the bullpen just does what they do when they're not getting stretched. Just absolutely taxing. You're talking 4th inning guys, 5th inning guys. You just go out, chill out.
4th inning guy
relax.
Makes me want to puke. Who's going to pitch the 4th? The starter. That's who. I also keep on waiting for what I have dubbed the Diaz game, where it's we came back
we thought that was
and we took the lead, and then we're going to give it back. And we seem to, Robertson or whoever seemed to keep getting through it. There will come a day where it's man, Robertson should have been in the 8th and not the 9th, and that'll happen. But the fact that we've gone this far, and while it certainly hasn't been good, the fact that the bullpen has not been the reason why we're dead is shocking to me because I really thought it was going to be a domino effect. And thank God. Now, it also sometimes makes me think about the value of that contract and all that, I'm totally okay with it. But for all the people out there who were saying spending that much money on a closer is crazy, and I was telling them, you're nuts. The peace of mind alone is worth that. This is obviously the argument. Their argument is, is valid when you see what's going on here. The way that the bullpen has been good without him. But again,
this
the
fan
season
base
is long.
Different though. This franchise is different. This fan base is different.
You need to exercise the demons.
We've been haunted with the ninth inning like no other fucking team.
Totally.
I'm sorry.
There's no spreadsheet that can measure mental health.
None. Yeah, for real. That the hiding in the kitchen is a sickness.
Looper, Benitez, you want me to say the names and we're all just going to be going through an entire case of
JJ Putz.
Coors Light? No, thank you.
Also, just a game like last night, 2 hours, 5 minutes, both starters going 8 innings.
Beautiful. I will say, have you guys been to many games this year?
I think I've been to 2.
I've been to 4 or 5.
I've heard just a few people being like, it's too short when you're there.
Oh,
you usually go, you almost have your whole night's at the ballpark, your whole afternoon's at the ballpark. I'm going to wait online for my favorite food. I'm going to wait for some merch. And you end up missing 3 innings.
Yep.
But at home, it's unparalleled, dude. A 2-hour, 5-minute game.
It's the best.
When you go to the game, you have to go there to watch the game.
You can't be there for anything else. It used to be you could do a little bit of both.
You have to get your food before the game, go to the bathroom before the game, all those 9 innings, sit your ass
But that's
down.
how it should be. We're just not used to it. It's nobody goes to a basketball arena to hang out. You go to fucking watch the game.
We're all adjusting. But when you're out, you say you're at home. You're getting your happy hours. The
only thing worth waiting online.
Your Coors Light. I do have a Coors Light in the fridge in case that Robertson Diaz game ever comes. It's just sitting there.
It's like
Purple Mountains.
Break glass in case of emergency.
In case of emergency. So, we were saying before, you've been on the road all the time. I had 3 plays from 2 different kids, a dance recital, Mother's Day, had a night out with a friend, and then had dueling birthdays, multiple Mother's Days. Every single time, serving up the Coors Lights because everything's going to be fine with my beautiful Blue Mountains, cold water, cold filtered, literally made it chill. I'm not even reading off the phone right now because I have that burned in my brain in ice cold Coors Light things. However, I'm going to read this part because I know this part is important and they tell you not to mess it up. Prepare your plans with an ice cold Coors Light, the beer that's keeping New York chill. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Drizzly or Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/believe. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Rate this. Let's do a little bronze, silver, gold, if you will. Blue Mountains, the kids, your actual kids.
Blue Mountains won because they help pay the bills and the kids can't be fed.
Facts.
Then the Mets kids because I am in such a better mood right now. Because
I was going to say, my kids are usually a drain on my mental health.
Yep.
The Mets can at least potentially, when they're good, be a bonus to my mental health.
Yeah, When my kids are good, it just brings me up to
that's what I mean.
sea level.
Right. The Mets and kids can both bring your mental health way down. The kids can only break even on the mental health, where the Mets can go through the fucking roof with the mental health.
I mean, we're all feeling 1,000% better than we did at this time. I'm like, is it the spring? Is it the weather? No. That's been around for weeks now. Yeah. It's just a team, a bunch of strangers in Queens are winning a kids game more than they were a week earlier.
Touching a plate on a ground more often, and that's what matters.
It's sick, man.
I really tried my hardest. I mean, when I wept like a baby and had truly emotional hurt after the 22 Mets lost, I was like, I think I really need to check myself and my relation with sports. My relationship to baseball is genuinely unhealthy. And I really tried to still be diehard, but let's be reasonable. And this winning, the difference I'm feeling, it's nope, I'm still sick and mad. Because I was not banging my head against the wall, but on the inside I was dying and I didn't realize it. It was the first 5 weeks were so terrible. And the last week has been so good.
And you know what the fucked up thing is? it's not even like the Mets couldn't even plan this, but it's just a way that like the circle of life in baseball works. Like it's because you're gonna have the kids, and it's like the young guys that you always love a little more, and they come from your system. How many times? Always. It's like if Lindor had come up through the Mets system, he wouldn't have had all that shit. But it was the fact he was a high price free agent. They traded for him. They gave him the deal, and he had to deal with all the shit. Meanwhile, Vientos says what he's like 6 at bats so far, and we're crowning him. You know, we had multiple Nick Plummer shirts on deck, ready for sale if he had just one more home run. And it's just so crazy how like coming from the minors versus coming from a trade or signing as a free agent, and that's how they get their hook to you. Because if it was the same as last year, you'd still be back in. But now this is like a new version team. Of it. They laced it with fucking kids.
Yeah, they really did. Like last year was like, oh, wow, you know, Marte and Canna, and like, oh, these guys are better than I thought. Now, did you win? Yeah? Wait, who'd you beat?
No spoilers. Don't tell me what you're talking to.
I forgot we're live. The last year's team was like a new surprise.
It was,
and I was fine to run it back because like I wanted it to be good again, you know. But this is like now there's a whole new chunk of your lineup to see how they're going to develop. Like we're watching Alvarez struggle and then succeed, and we're seeing is Vientos just going to be like run with it from the jump, and watching how Beatty and Escobar interact. Those are all storylines that are like amazing, you know. So it really is to me like a tale of two different teams. The problem is that pitching, man. There's only so many times you can have your momentum rolling and give the opposing team 4 runs in the first inning, 3 runs in the first inning, 2 runs in the first inning, 1 run. They give up a first inning run every fucking
even
game.
Verlander
13 straight games, I think it was.
Yeah. 13 straight games they let the opposing team score in the first run?
No, the first run of the game, not the first inning.
Oh, okay. I was like, no way.
They were trailing first at some point.
Yeah.
But I think they're like
the first inning was a lot of crazy.
They're like 14-2 when they score first. Sounds like a great stat until you realize we played like 50 games.
I mean, it is. Yeah, right. That needs to be. Those sort of stats over time can. I just you can't do that. There's only a finite amount of those games.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's like you get probably 6 or 7. Hopefully, like walk-off, game-tying, game-winning sort of moments. The 22 Mets had like 12 or 15. Like, you're either going to have a shitty year or a good year on that. But if you get 5 of them in a week, like, there's only so many more to play with. You know what I mean? So I feel like that is the pitching has to step up in some way.
You asked this question to the group chat, and I want to hear both your thoughts. How are we feeling every 5 days when Max is on the mound right now? Because he's like he yesterday he delivered. I know the velocity was down for a little bit, and I think Tim Healy was like, is he saving himself because it's a doubleheader? He's trying to extend the length because the bullpen's not getting taxed.
How many did he end up going?
6 innings, but he said he had a callus in his
I did.
Yeah. And those are painful.
I think he said the callus exploded too.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean that I know baseball is like such a joke, but you can't pitch with a callus. Like your brain and your body is just telling you like to stop rubbing that spot, man. I do think there has been enough extenuating circumstances with Max, coming off of an injury, coming off of a suspension, callus, all this shit where it's like he still hasn't settled in totally.
Mm-hmm. Is it like Jake though, where you're like, is he hurt right now?
It felt that way yesterday. Yeah. I'll say that.
Were you worried with the velocity?
Not so much with velocity, just like seeing him like grimace walking off the mound. You're like, oh,
that's why he's got to learn to pitch and not power. You know,
yeah.
I say it a million times, but watching Pedro in 05 mold his game and reshape his game, like painting and rather than overpowering, was like more impressive. Watching the El Duques and the Bartolos like throw junk and off speed and obviously Max is never going to do that, but a little more of that might behoove him because you ain't just going to go out there and Max Scherzer it anymore.
Verlander had a good quote last night. It's like he didn't hunt strikeouts because 1, he knew the lineup doesn't strike out, and 2, he needed to go 8 innings.
Right.
Go 8 innings.
I mean, when you know you have to, it's like I got to.
I need to fly a unicorn today. Like, thanks, Justin. Like that's what it's like. If I go,
but he fucking did it. Like to deliver like that is gangster.
He's like, I know if I go 6 innings, 12 Ks, 0 runs, we'll probably end up losing this game somehow.
So true. Isn't that so stupid though? It's like, I mean. If you are really on a level where you can just do that, decide whether you want to strike out or pitch to contact, then pitch to contact. You're always going to go deeper in the game. You're always going to eat more innings. Like, it's just better. If you need the strikeout in the moment, situationally,
not all
fine.
Strikeouts are created equal. That's the thing.
Right. Like, if you need, if it's man on third, less than one out, let's do it. Strike him out.
At plate, I got to get this guy out.
Right. Yeah. But if it's nobody on starting the inning, let him hit it. Let him put the bottom of the ball.
I'm telling you too. And this might be my little fan fiction that I'm coming up with to tell me everything's gonna be all right. I feel like Scherzer is still so fucking rattled and angry about the pitch clock. Like, I guarantee Mrs. Scherzer every night, she's like, "Oh God,
here we go." He's
like, the fucking pitch clock, Dorian. The fucking thing.
I hope that Mrs. Scherzer around the house makes him do things in 20-second increments. You know what I mean? Like get the kids ready for get them in the car and it's on the clock.
Would you? Would you? I wouldn't put it past him actually setting that, getting that all.
I've got to brush my teeth in 20 seconds. I got to take a shower in 20 seconds. I got to make my sandwich in 20 seconds.
The clocks are all 20 seconds faster. You know.
He's that fucking crazy, man.
Son of a bitch.
I think he's had. Again, I really have not been watching as he's had. Since his bad starts, he's had two good ones.
Yeah, 2 good ones versus the Nats.
So he had the Padres start that was good. Then he had garbage
starts.
starts.
No, half a Dodgers start was good.
Right.
Yeah. Then he got ejected.
Then there was 1 or 2 super shitty starts.
It was the
Tiger start in the shitty
so
day.
It's just
his
the
first
one
game
really
back,
bad one.
Yeah.
And then he had
really
a couple bad starts early in the he's if you look
that's
at
how much
the game
narrative
log,
can
really
be.
yeah exactly
yeah the narrative and watching him and seeing some of the laboring is ooh. But then you look at it, it's all right, 1 bad start, 1 bad inning, an ejection, a suspension, a blister. But we're right back, where we're at. Meanwhile, Verlander's ERA is still 4, but he's doing it in a way now where we're feeling.
I feel like he saved the season every time.
Right.
I almost want to apologize, be like, Justin, listen. Everything you thought you're going to be number 2 in the rotation or 1A, whatever, Buck would tell him. You're going to start opening day at home, and everything's going to be a 100-win team. This fucking offense is going to take care of you whenever you have a rough outing. And it's no. Instead, you are our fucking savior. Right now, just to settle in and just chill, man. He's fucking too old to have to be the horse right now.
I know, but that's what he is, dude. And I think that's what he likes being. And I will be forever. And I'm already forever indebted to that guy. I've said that a million times as well. Anybody who was on the Tigers, who was on the Angels, who was on the Indians in the mid and early 2000s, anybody who beat up on the Yankees, I'm I love you for life. Now you get to do it for me, potentially. If he is the horse who does stretch the bullpen every time he goes out there, gives a 7 and 8, I will, oh my God. Forget about Kate Upton, the things that I'll do for JV.
I was what can we do for Kate Upton? Get her back on that side.
Whatever you want, man. I'll take you and your girl. We'll make it happen because, God, you are a savior.
That's the one thing I think you'll have to do. You get to
God.
So we have the Cubs coming up next, which, again, this off day on Monday was beautiful. Even that rain out on Saturday, so then the bullpen got an extra day of rest. Buck had the full artillery. We got an Ottavino game in, which is good. He gave us the fucking scares and everything like that. And if Marte starts getting hot, by the way, then that changes everything.
That changes everything.
Everything.
I kept thinking we need Marte and McNeil to be like what they were last year, and you start to see a little bit of that. And then you mix in that in with the kids. All of a sudden you have 7 or 8 guys who are fucking.
This is the lineup we thought we were getting. Yes. When Alvarez came up in the beginning of the year, we're if he is the guy, and now it's everyone else is back to being the guy.
Yep.
So the Cubs, and I know Bellinger just went on the IL, so he's out. Which
Hosmer got DFA'd.
Did he really?
Yep. Holy shit! Wait, so it's Cubs? How does it go?
Cubs and Rockies.
Cubs,
so
Rockies, and then it gets ugly.
I think it goes Philly,
Jays.
So Philly's important, but if they keep playing like shit, it's not
I'd rather
necessarily.
play the good teams because we get up for those games.
That is true. It is backwards.
I thought St. Louis were playing the Cardinals earlier. We don't play them till June 16th because they're starting to get hot now.
How are the Jays?
The Jays, they just got swept by the Orioles, but they're still they're above 500, but last.
Again, this is why you look around the league at other teams getting swept or losing, and you're not jumping off the bridge about them. You're not canceling their season. Why do you do it for your team?
Yeah, it's wild, man.
So now that we have these 3 guys in the mix, what is your ideal perfect lineup that you want to see Buck do every day and stop fucking around?
I don't even know.
It is a little bit hard with the positions. And
I'd keep it Nemo, Lindor, McNeil, Pete, Beatty at the 5. I want Alvarez bumped up to 6. and then Vientos 7, and then you could split either Canna and Marte in 8 and 9 to create like double lead
off. Yeah.
Honestly, triple lead off at that point.
I was gonna say, yeah, because like if Marte starts playing well and you can have him in your 8 or 9 hole, that's fucking insane. And I know we can talk about double lead off, and I know that's a thing, but it's also like it's a luxury to be able to put a guy, if he's playing that well, that far down in the lineup. You're talking about a silly lineup.
Yeah.
A silly one.
He'd hit third on like our 2015 team.
Yeah. That's why I still think if he's playing at his highest level of last year, I still think he's one of the more valuable players on the team, even over like the kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
we saw when he got hurt.
Yeah. So I wonder if like, let's say this. Let's play a hypothetical. You can't change your lineup again this year. So are you banking on Vientos doing this every time, or do you think he's gonna ebb and flow? So in that case, would you want veterans higher? Would that still be your lineup if you had to lock in the whole year?
I mean, it's hard to drop down from 7. That's the thing. Like I'm already putting.
Yeah, right. But I'm saying like you would still like I still feel like I have faith. I have more faith in Marte getting back to where he was consistently than relying on like Vientos to be hitting bombs and even Alvarez or Beatty. Like I still feel like I would want the Marte higher in the lineup like last year, just because if it does get back to what it was, and you have the kids at the back end,
that's where the magic
and then it's like, then you really can stack things. Because man, when Marte was cooking in like the 2-hole, that was so sick.
And we don't know if Vientos will have like an adjustment period the way like Beatty had.
That's what I mean. Yeah, and how long will that last? Where
it took like a month for Alvarez to say like, "Guy, you know what? I gotta start hitting with the bases loaded and stuff like that."
Right.
Vientos has had like his Obi Toppin. Like he's had a couple nice dunks, but it's like, all right, now that's like
now we gotta see if you can do it like every day,
and then any warts if he's out in the field, if there's an error.
I do not want him out in the field. I just
want
to say this: Brett Beatty's actually really good at third base. Keep him there.
Yeah, he can play.
Like,
and Alvarez has been, like you said, defensively
one of the best.
He has to watch out with those fucking backswings though. One of them is gonna knock him out, man.
Like
literally, figuratively.
He's right there.
Cam Gallagher last night.
It's straight up, assault.
Yeah. When it comes to the kids, I feel like Buck has got to at least acknowledge a little bit of like some more of the, and maybe he did this, I didn't see some of the logic behind not playing them sometimes, even if it's like I'm talking directly to the fans. Here's why: because it's infuriating. It drives you, and there might be a perfect baseball reason. It might just be load management, and this is what the analytics say or whatever. But just some sort of like, hey guys, I know you might expect him to be in the lineup after this home run, but trust us, we have these reasons why. Like just to let it be known that he knows we're all like, what the fuck? Because it's like, God.
Has he said anything? Crazy. Like I haven't seen anything,
but very like it's quotes with like a tons of words that really just don't.
All
say
gibberish.
Anything.
I would rather imagine.
But you know, it's like when your kids are like, "Why do we have to do this?" And it's like because I said
you do.
So.
Yeah. but even if Buck said that, like, because I'm smart and you're not, and like this is what I think is best for the long run. Maybe I wanted Vientos to sit the next day to just soak it all in, and I don't know, whatever your fucking reason is.
Boy was getting his dick sucked till 3 a.m, so I need to give him the day off. He's very
Who
tired.
knows, man? Honestly, maybe that's it. Maybe Vientos came and said, "Fuck, I'm fucking hungover today. Sorry, Skip." Who fucking knows? But God, that can absolutely drive me nuts.
And by the way, Buck didn't say anything about the WBC. That was a Mark Gooden thing. Like for the fucking people who are losing their minds about that, he got people with that, and then he got them with another one, didn't he?
He got someone that's signing with ESPN in September.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he got.
I will say, if Buck does say that the WBC ruined things, I would agree with him. I go ahead and say it, Buck. I will have your back.
Phillies season. That would be a great line. Well, you saw what it did to the Phillies. It killed Trey Turner. They gave him that boy $100 million a year.
Emmanuel Clase pitched in the WBC front.
It killed Clase too.
But it really is. All of this is to say it comes down to the pitching. I feel like somebody, you're gonna need Senga to be the 12 strikeout Senga.
Yep.
You're gonna need Max to be the good Max. You're gonna need Verlander to be the good version that we've seen. And I'm all but done with the rest of them. Like Cookie, see you later.
Oh yeah,
Miguel stepped up.
Fine.
I'm fine with
Peterson and Cookie. I'm done.
Peterson, international, whatever league player of the week in AAA.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, 8 innings, no runs.
24 Peterson. I'm going to buy stock on right now. I'm not buying 2020. I don't even want to see this guy.
24. Okay,
23.
Yeah.
24 Peterson, I'll buy my stock on. But and this guy Vassell, right?
Vassell.
He's looking like the numbers all look sexy right now. Like even like the strikeout to walk ratio, the K per
some of those bullpen
that.
arms too. Bailey starting to like get in the rotation, not the rotation, the mix as far as your pen. When he's that little scoop he did the other day.
Oh yeah.
And then he pointed as he kind of kept running through. That was great.
He pitched in both games of a doubleheader too. So.
Gangster.
I just looked it up too. The Cubs are 1-7 in their last 8, so they're coming in struggling right now.
Yep.
We're going to Chicago. So yeah, by the way, 5th and Med, we have our watch party. This watch party when Rico was on like a week and a half ago, we're like we may have to throw the NLCS on the screen because I don't know if we're going to want to watch the Mets.
Back, baby.
Basically, come out to the watch party. It's at 5th and Med. Hubs I've never been there. Hubs says he loves the fucking bar. Great TVs, great food, just like great overall bar. It's gonna be 7:40 is the Mets game. We'll be there a little early. We'll tweet it out on all the accounts. It's dozen weeks, so we're going to try to get any of the fools that are in. I'm going to try to get Eddie out there. Obviously, Chicago guy. Clemmer said he's in.
Castellani said he's
Castellani's definitely in. Castellani, the biggest Mets fan. As soon as the Mets won yesterday, it was hottest team in baseball.
Back. Let's go. World Series back on.
We got Senga on the bump, so we have like someone who hopefully can go 6 innings and just get us the automatic win. Coors Lights will be flowing, and we'll have, usually there's some kind of merch. We got to get those fucking visors. We got to get more of those Coors Lights visors.
Hell yeah.
The floral pattern. So that's gonna be.
We're gonna try to make some kids merch. I want to get an MVP shirt. I don't know how to make a thrusting shirt, but that fucking
step 1 hit bomb, step 2 like fuck.
It really is. We need a fuck bomb shirt. I mean that's really what it is. But as long as they're exciting, happy, I'm happy. As long as they're coming back, I'm happy. Just need to keep this shit rolling. And to everybody who consults, this is why you learned your lesson. Because you know what? Even if like we falter back down, there'll probably be another hot run. You go up and down. You do this all season long because that's how fucking baseball works. So everybody who jumped off early, suck a dick. To everybody who stayed on board,
gotta believe.
Yeah.
Only thing I don't like here. All 3 games in the Cubbies are at night.
I like that all night because I don't have to hear him.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. I like Wrigley during the day, but I feel that for you.
Also, it is weird to like think of Wrigley and no day games.
Right? And then I always hate the